Picture this. In the cosmic halls of eternity, before the first star ever sparked into existence, before time itself began its relentless march forward, a rebellion so catastrophic unfolded that it would shake the very foundations of creation. Lucifer, the morning star, the most beautiful and powerful of all created beings, stands defiant before the throne of the Almighty. His wings, once radiant with divine light, now cast shadows across the heavenly realm as he declares war against his creator. But here's the mind-bending question that has puzzled theologians, scholars, and believers for millennia. Where was Jesus during this cosmic uprising? Was the Son of God merely a spectator to this celestial war? Did he play a role in Lucifer's dramatic fall from grace? The answer will challenge everything you think you know about the nature of divinity, time, and the very fabric of existence itself. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This isn't just a poetic introduction to John's Gospel, it's a declaration that shatters our understanding of chronology. When we ask where Jesus was during Lucifer's rebellion, we're operating under a fundamentally flawed assumption that Jesus came into existence only when he was born in Bethlehem some 2,000 years ago. The truth is far more extraordinary and complex. Jesus, as the second person of the Trinity, existed from eternity past. He wasn't created, he always was. This concept, known as the eternal existence of Christ, means that when Lucifer first conceived his prideful thoughts, when the seeds of rebellion first took root in the heart of the morning star, Jesus was there, not as a passive observer, but as an active participant in the divine council. Ancient Jewish texts and early Christian writings paint a picture of heaven that's far more dynamic and complex than the serene, cloud-filled paradise often depicted in popular imagination. The Book of Enoch, though not canonical, provides fascinating insights into the celestial hierarchy. According to these ancient sources, heaven operated like a vast cosmic kingdom with complex relationships, councils, and yes, even conflicts. Lucifer wasn't just any angel, he was the covering cherub, positioned at the very throne of God. Imagine the most trusted advisor to a king, someone with intimate access to the deepest secrets of the realm. That was Lucifer's position. The prophet Ezekiel describes him as perfect in beauty, adorned with precious stones, walking among the fiery stones of God's holy mountain. But here's where it gets interesting. This same passage suggests that Lucifer's fall wasn't a sudden event, but a gradual corruption that festered in his heart. During this period of growing rebellion, Jesus wasn't absent or uninvolved. According to Orthodox Christian theology, as the eternal Word, Christ was intimately involved in all divine decisions and actions. The Trinity operates in perfect unity. Where one person of the Godhead acts, all three are present and active, though their roles may differ. Picture the scene. In the courts of heaven, as Lucifer's pride begins to consume him, as he starts to believe his own beauty and power make him equal to God, there's Jesus, not yet incarnate, but fully divine, witnessing the unfolding tragedy. Some theologians suggest that Jesus, in his pre-incarnate form, may have been one of the mysterious figures who appeared to Old Testament characters. Could the angel of the Lord who wrestled with Jacob, who appeared to Moses in the burning bush, have been the pre-incarnate Christ observing and occasionally intervening in earthly affairs, even as cosmic drama unfolded in heaven? But let's dig deeper into the rebellion itself. Lucifer's sin wasn't merely wanting to be like God. According to Isaiah chapter 14, his desire was to ascend above the stars of God, to sit on the mount of the congregation, to be like the Most High. This wasn't just ambition, it was cosmic treason of the highest order. Here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. Some ancient traditions suggest that Lucifer's rebellion was triggered by a divine revelation about God's plan for humanity and the eventual incarnation of Christ. Picture Lucifer learning that God intended to create beings, humans, who would be lower than angels, yet through Christ's incarnation and sacrifice would ultimately be elevated to positions of honor in God's kingdom. The idea that humans, these finite, physical creatures, would one day judge angels, as Paul writes in 1 Corinthians, may have been the final straw that broke Lucifer's pride. If this interpretation is correct, then Jesus wasn't just present during the rebellion. The very plan for his future incarnation was the catalyst that sparked it. This interpretation adds layers of complexity to the cosmic drama. Imagine Lucifer's fury upon learning that the Word would humble himself, take on human flesh, and, through that ultimate act of humility, lift humanity to heights that Lucifer himself could never reach. For a being whose sin was pride, this revelation would be unbearable. Quick pause here. I'm curious about you, our incredible Professor Archive community. Where in the world are you watching from, and what time is it where you are? Are you a student burning the midnight oil, a professional taking a lunch break, or perhaps someone winding down after a long day? Drop a comment and let us know. I love seeing how far our curious minds reach across the globe. The book of Revelation gives us another crucial piece of this puzzle. John's apocalyptic vision describes a war in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon and his angels. But here's the twist. This passage is written in future tense, suggesting that from John's perspective on the island of Patmos, this cosmic war was yet to come. This has led some scholars to propose that Lucifer's rebellion wasn't a single event in the distant past, but rather an ongoing cosmic conflict that spans all of time. If this interpretation holds water, then Jesus wasn't just present at Lucifer's initial rebellion. He's been actively engaged in this cosmic war throughout all of history. Every act of redemption, every moment of divine grace, every instance of good triumphing over evil becomes a battle in this larger warfare between light and darkness. Consider the temptation in the wilderness after Jesus' baptism. When Satan appears to tempt the incarnate Christ, this isn't their first encounter. This is the continuation of a cosmic conflict that began before the foundation of the world. The enemy who once stood in the presence of God as the covering cherub now faces the eternal Word made flesh, and the stakes couldn't be higher. But here's perhaps the most profound aspect of this entire narrative. Jesus' response to Lucifer's rebellion reveals the stark contrast between pride and humility. Where Lucifer sought to exalt himself and become like God through rebellion and self-assertion, Jesus chose the path of humility, emptying himself, as Paul writes in Philippians, and becoming obedient unto death, even death on a cross. The ancient church fathers, particularly Origen and John Chrysostom, wrote extensively about this cosmic drama. They suggested that Jesus' incarnation was not just God's response to human sin, but also his answer to Lucifer's challenge. In effect, God was saying, "You want to be exalted? Look at how exaltation truly works. Through service, sacrifice, and love, not through pride and rebellion." This perspective transforms our understanding of the Christmas story. The baby in the manger isn't just God reaching down to save humanity. He's the eternal Word who witnessed Lucifer's fall, who participated in the divine council's decision about how to respond to cosmic rebellion, now taking on human flesh to demonstrate the true nature of divine power through weakness. Some of the most fascinating insights come from studying the Hebrew and Greek texts of Scripture. The word Satan simply means adversary or accuser, while devil comes from the Greek diabolos, meaning slanderer. These aren't just names, they're job descriptions. Lucifer became the cosmic prosecutor, the one who stands before God's throne accusing the brethren, as Revelation describes. Meanwhile, Jesus takes on the role of advocate, the defense attorney for humanity. 1 John tells us that if anyone sins, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous. The cosmic courtroom drama that began with Lucifer's rebellion continues today, with Satan as prosecutor and Jesus as our defender. But there's an even deeper mystery here. Some mystical Christian traditions suggest that Lucifer's rebellion was somehow necessary for the full revelation of God's character. Without the contrast of evil, could the depths of divine love and mercy be fully appreciated? This doesn't make God the author of evil, but it suggests that even cosmic rebellion serves ultimately to glorify God and reveal aspects of his nature that might otherwise remain hidden. This idea finds support in unexpected places. The Apostle Paul writes that God works all things together for good for those who love him. If that all things includes even cosmic rebellion, then Lucifer's fall becomes part of a larger tapestry that reveals God's wisdom and power in ways that a rebellion-free universe never could. Consider this mind-bending possibility. What if Jesus, in his eternal wisdom and foreknowledge, knew that Lucifer's rebellion would ultimately serve God's greater purposes? This doesn't diminish the tragedy of the fall or excuse evil, but it does suggest that even the darkest cosmic events are encompassed within God's sovereign plan. The early Christian hymns provide another window into how the first believers understood this cosmic drama. The Carmen Christi in Philippians chapter 2 contrasts Christ's humility with the implied pride of other heavenly beings. The hymn celebrates Jesus' willingness to descend from heaven to earth, from glory to shame, from life to death. A journey that stands in stark opposition to Lucifer's attempted ascent from created being to deity. Here's where the story becomes deeply personal for every human being. If we're correct that Jesus was not only present during Lucifer's rebellion, but actively involved in the divine response to it, then every person's individual story of redemption is connected to this cosmic narrative. Your struggles with pride, your battles against temptation, your journey toward humility and love, all of these are echoes of the greater cosmic conflict between the way of Lucifer and the way of Christ. The Gnostic texts, while not accepted as canonical by mainstream Christianity, offer intriguing perspectives on this cosmic drama. They describe complex relationships between various divine emanations and suggest that the material world itself emerged from cosmic conflict. While Orthodox Christianity rejects Gnostic dualism, these texts remind us that early believers wrestled seriously with questions about the relationship between spirit and matter, good and evil, pride and humility. Archaeological discoveries continue to shed light on how ancient peoples understood these cosmic conflicts. Mesopotamian creation myths speak of wars between gods, while Egyptian texts describe cosmic battles between order and chaos. These parallels suggest that the human intuition about cosmic conflict runs deep across cultures and civilizations. But returning to our central question, if Jesus was present during Lucifer's rebellion, what does this tell us about the nature of time and eternity? Traditional Christian theology holds that God exists outside of time. The technical term is eternal rather than merely everlasting. This means that from God's perspective, Lucifer's rebellion, Jesus' incarnation, and the final judgment are all equally present. There's no before or after from the divine perspective. This understanding revolutionizes how we think about prayer, providence, and divine intervention. When we pray, we're not informing God of something he didn't know or convincing him to change his mind. Instead, we're participating in the eternal conversation of the Trinity that encompasses all of time and space. The implications extend even further. If Jesus was present at Lucifer's rebellion, then every word he spoke during his earthly ministry carries the weight of eternity. When he said, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven," he wasn't reporting secondhand information. He was recounting his own experience as a member of the divine Trinity. Hey, thanks for sticking with us this far into this incredible cosmic journey. You know what? This is Professor Archive, and if these deep dives into history's greatest mysteries are enriching your understanding of these ancient stories, would you consider leaving a super thanks? It really helps us continue bringing you these detailed explorations into the questions that have puzzled humanity for millennia. Every bit of support means we can keep uncovering these fascinating connections between ancient texts and eternal truths. Recent theological scholarship has raised even more intriguing questions about the relationship between divine foreknowledge and cosmic rebellion. If God knew that creating free-willed beings would result in rebellion, both angelic and human, why proceed with creation? Some theologians argue that the ultimate glory of a universe where love triumphs over rebellion, where humility conquers pride, where sacrifice defeats selfishness, is so magnificent that it justifies the cost. This perspective suggests that Jesus' presence during Lucifer's rebellion wasn't just as a witness, but as the eternal solution to the problem that rebellion would create. Before Lucifer ever conceived his prideful thoughts, the Lamb was already slain in the heart and mind of God. The mystical traditions within Christianity speak of something called the eternal now. The idea that God's eternal perspective encompasses all of time simultaneously. From this viewpoint, Jesus' incarnation, crucifixion, and resurrection weren't responses to unforeseen crises, but the eternal reality around which all of cosmic history revolves. This brings us to one of the most profound questions in all of theology. Could Lucifer have been redeemed? Some early church fathers, notably Origen, believed in the possibility of universal redemption that might even include fallen angels. While this view was ultimately rejected by mainstream Christianity, it raises fascinating questions about the nature of choice, time, and redemption. If redemption was theoretically possible for Lucifer, then Jesus' presence during the rebellion takes on additional significance. Was Christ already serving as a potential redeemer even then? The answer touches on fundamental questions about the nature of sin, freedom, and divine justice. The medieval theologians, particularly Thomas Aquinas, developed sophisticated theories about angelic nature that shed light on these questions. Angels, unlike humans, were believed to make permanent, irrevocable choices. Their pure spiritual nature meant they couldn't change their minds the way humans constantly do. If this is correct, then Lucifer's rebellion represents a kind of cosmic point of no return that Jesus witnessed but couldn't prevent without compromising angelic freedom. But here's a twist that modern physics might illuminate. Einstein's theories of relativity revealed that time itself is relative, dependent on perspective and position. If the created universe operates under physical laws that make time relative, how much more might divine perspective transcend our temporal limitations? This scientific insight adds credibility to theological claims about God's eternal nature. When we ask where Jesus was during Lucifer's rebellion, we might be asking the wrong question entirely. It's not about location in time or space, but about eternal relationships and realities that encompass all of time. The practical implications of these insights are staggering. If Jesus witnessed Lucifer's fall from glory to degradation, then his teachings about humility carry the authority of someone who has seen the ultimate consequences of pride. When he washed the disciples' feet, he wasn't just teaching about service. He was demonstrating the cosmic principle that conquered Lucifer's rebellion. Consider the Sermon on the Mount in this light. Blessed are the poor in spirit becomes not just moral instruction, but cosmic wisdom learned from observing the fall of the most exalted created being. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth, echoes with the authority of someone who watched pride lead to cosmic exile. The Lord's Prayer takes on new dimensions as well. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven becomes a petition for the cosmic order that existed before rebellion disrupted the harmony of creation. Every phrase resonates with awareness of the cosmic conflict between submission and rebellion, humility and pride. Ancient Christian art often depicted these cosmic themes in ways that modern believers might miss. Byzantine icons frequently show Christ in majesty, surrounded by angels and saints with defeated demons beneath his feet. These weren't just artistic choices, they were theological statements about Christ's eternal victory over cosmic rebellion. The book of Job provides another crucial piece of this puzzle. When Satan appears before God's throne to accuse Job, he's operating under divine permission and limitation. This scene suggests that even after his rebellion, Lucifer remains subject to divine authority. Jesus' presence during these cosmic courtroom scenes as a member of the Trinity means he's intimately involved in decisions about how far evil will be permitted to go. This understanding transforms our perspective on suffering and evil. They're not evidence of God's absence or weakness, but rather the temporary permitted consequences of choices made in cosmic freedom. Jesus' presence ensures that even suffering serves ultimately redemptive purposes. The resurrection takes on cosmic significance in this framework. When Jesus emerged from the tomb, he wasn't just conquering human death, he was demonstrating the ultimate failure of Lucifer's rebellion. Death, the ultimate weapon of pride and sovereignty over self, proved powerless against divine love and humility. Paul's letters are filled with cosmic language that makes perfect sense if Jesus was present during Lucifer's rebellion. Phrases like principalities and powers, rulers of the darkness of this age, and spiritual wickedness in high places suggest an ongoing cosmic conflict that began before human history. The book of Revelation brings this cosmic perspective full circle. The final judgment scenes show Jesus not as a newcomer to cosmic conflict, but as the eternal Word who has been engaged in this battle from the beginning. The war in heaven described in Revelation 12 isn't just future prophecy. It's the eternal reality of Christ's victory over pride and rebellion. Here's perhaps the most beautiful aspect of this entire cosmic narrative. Jesus' presence during Lucifer's rebellion means that every human struggle with pride, every battle against selfishness, every choice for humility and love, echoes the eternal victory that Christ represents. We're not just trying to be good people, we're participating in a cosmic drama that spans eternity. The early church understood this cosmic dimension of faith in ways that modern Christianity sometimes misses. When they celebrated communion, they saw themselves joining not just with other believers, but with the eternal feast of the Lamb who was slain before the foundation of the world. When they sang hymns, they were joining the cosmic chorus that has been proclaiming Christ's victory since before Lucifer's fall. This cosmic perspective offers profound comfort during times of suffering and doubt. If Jesus witnessed Lucifer's rebellion and participated in the divine response to it, then no evil catches him by surprise. No suffering falls outside his awareness and ultimate plan for redemption. As we bring this cosmic journey to a close, we return to our original question with new understanding. Where was Jesus during Lucifer's rebellion? He was exactly where he's always been, at the heart of divine love, actively participating in God's eternal plan to bring glory from rebellion, light from darkness, and eternal joy from temporary sorrow. The morning star may have fallen, but the true light of the world was there to witness it, to plan humanity's redemption, and ultimately to demonstrate that the way of humility and love always triumphs over the path of pride and rebellion. This cosmic drama continues today in every human heart, in every choice between self and service, in every moment when we must decide whether to follow the way of Lucifer or the way of Christ. So as you go about your day, remember that you're part of this eternal story. Your choices matter not just for you, but for the ongoing cosmic narrative that began before the stars were born and will continue long after they've burned out. In Christ, we're all participants in the greatest story ever told, the triumph of divine love over cosmic rebellion. And that, fellow seekers of truth, is where Jesus was during Lucifer's rebellion, right where he's always been, right where he is now, and right where he'll always be, at the eternal center of God's perfect love, wisdom, and plan for creation. Thanks for joining us on Professor Archive for another deep dive into the mysteries that have shaped human understanding for millennia. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep marveling at the incredible tapestry of truth that surrounds us all.